New update time. We got another update for FM24. I'm excited to look at this one. This one sounds really interesting. Before we do, right as I put out that video yesterday, we're just going to switch across to it about the J League. Did that video about the J League, and of course, minutes later or hours later, not that long after, they went and announced it. All three J League divisions are going to be in the game. There's a nice video somewhere. It's actually not on this page that shows like a nice graphic with all the things. Obviously, I thought they might announce it when they were at Tokyo Game Show. They did. In fact, someone actually got a clip. I think maybe that's why people had got off a screen at Tokyo Game Show, them showing the J League, and that was it. So I've got my Nagoya Grampus shirt just here. We might be giving that a go. We might have to give that a go. I've got myself weirdly excited about the J League. I've got to be honest. I don't know why. Maybe Gap or Osaka. I mean, there's some interesting teams in here. I'm going to have to learn about the J League a little bit. There's something alluring about it. Maybe, and you know, about Japanese football culture that makes me think I want to give that a go. So that was the news yesterday that the J League is about it, but they've just done their latest on the new features, of course, introducing intermediaries and offloading players. If I refresh the page, there we go, it is here. We got a picture already. Let's go into it though. Right, so we're going to look at this together. I've not looked at this yet. It's been out for 1 minute, well, probably about 3 minutes now. I went to get a drink first, but let's have a look. So I'm excited for this bit, to be honest. If this bit could be the biggest change to the game and the biggest thing, like the way in which real football works now. So let's have a look. Introducing intermediaries and offloading players. Whether you're signing world-class wonder kids, looking to offload players that no longer made the grade or anything between, I mean, that is really annoying right now, having to offload players. You just offer them out every day, and you're like, oh, why isn't, like, this is a bar, I'm offering them out well below value. Someone must want this player. Squad building is integral to every Football Manager career. If I click that, where does that take me, I wonder? Okay, that takes me to the update we got on Monday. We've heard your feedback in recent years that selling players can prove a frustrating experience. I think I just said that. It often is for many clubs and players during every transfer window. With that in mind, our team considered what extra tools we can have in FM24 for AI managers to help with this aspect of the game. As with so many areas of Football Manager, we leaned on our industry access to better understand how clubs look to solve the problem of offloading players in the professional game, and then applied that insight to our game. So something that the Football Manager has done a lot of, and if you go on Miles's Twitter, you can see this happening, is meeting with people in the industry, meeting with ex-footballers, meeting with agents, meeting with the LMA, meeting with all sorts, I mean, not LMA Manager, that was a good game. Meeting with the LMA and, you know, I'm trying to understand better how the real game works and how they can apply that in game. Because don't forget, you know, just because something happens in the real doesn't mean it has to happen in the game. At the end of the day, the game is supposed to be accessible and fun. The last thing you want to do is manually type out faxes, although that's actually the thing they're probably getting rid of. So let's have a look. We've got this: introducing intermediaries and offloading players. Discuss generating market interest. Hire an intermediary. Oh, so you can hire someone. Okay. Using agents for better transfer market insight. In an attempt to give you better clarity of how much you can get for your players when trying to sell them, we've added a new Ask Agent about market interest option to the transfer drop-down on player profiles. So, okay, so you can go speak to a player's agent about if anyone is gonna buy them. So, because I find this a problem. You have a player valuation, but sometimes that's set by what you set it at. Sometimes that's set by your own staff. It's hard to judge how much your player is worth sometimes. Selecting this takes you through to a quick chat with the player's agent. As manager, you have 3 responses that each carry a different tone. Okay, so it's like in the conversations, interactions. Desperate demonstrates a real urgency to move the player on. Keen indicates you're interested in selling but only at the right price. Curious if you're there just exploring your options. Okay, right, that's useful to do, because one of the problems sometimes with Foot Manager is the response you give isn't necessarily how you wanted to convey that. So I've had a position where I didn't want to sell the player, but if a big bid came in, I was going to sell the player, and I couldn't quite work out how to, because there was a little bit of interest in him. I wanted to offer him out without annoying the player and making him think I was going to get rid of him. I just wanted to make sure I got the maximum value for him. So picking one of the options will trigger your interest in selling the player. If they're happy to move, the agent will let you know the player's current transfer market value and the club's most interested in the services. That's like a little bit, I mean, that's already there, players interested, but it might add in a couple bits. If your intention to sell catches the player by surprise and they don't want to leave, the agent will refuse to engage in attempts to sell. So you still got to be careful. You still don't want to annoy the players. Maybe take that curious approach. And you may need to go over their head. Be careful though, because as with everything in Foot Manager, your actions have consequences. Let's have a look at the image here and see what we have. So we're talking with Stephen Green, a regional agent about Luca Campbell at Watford. Of course, it's Watford. Miles loves doing it with Watford. I assume Miles took these screenshots. He has to have done, right? Or is he decided it has to be done with Watford? Interesting. Weirdly, it puts the player traits here on this little profile about the player. Okay, so you can say we need to sell Luca Campbell, and we'll be happy to listen to offers. So we'd like to know how much he's worth. We're looking to sell Luca Campbell, interesting what the market considers value. We're considering selling. Okay, so they're all still pushing towards him being sold. Right, let's go back. Was there anything? Let's have a quick look in the background. Any little hints? Nothing. 4-star player. Or I guess that's relative to the team, right? Again, we can't see this guy's attributes. 2 point. Yeah, you can see there, actually. This is sort of what I was on about. 2.6 to 6.4. Well, what happens if you try to sell him to 8 if he's in demand? What happens if you sell him to 2 and no one wants him? I mean, that happens far too often. Okay, let's go down. After your initial response, you'll have the choice of asking the agent to proceed and begin sourcing him. So you can get the agent to do the work. Instead of, because before you'd have to either do it yourself or set your director of football to do it. Or just list them. Or you can reconsider your options if you're not happy with the potential price or clubs rumored with interest. Okay, so you can move it around. If your player is happy to leave but there are no takers, the agent will explain why. Extra information is useful. Maybe, I mean, often it does tell you sometimes that the player is priced too high, the teams don't want to pay that much. And like in some of those cases, they massively undervalue the player. So I wonder if that's going to get fixed a little bit. It did, and that might fit in with some of the stuff that we learned in Monday's one. Okay. Following your conversation with the agent, the price tag on the player's profile will update to reflect the market value discussed. So that price tag at the top, let's get this open. That price tag at the top there, oh, it's got a little dot next to it. See that? That's new. Oh, actually, is that? Okay. It's changed color as well. That's interesting. This is a different player. Jimmy Rhodes at FMFC. What league is FMFC in now? I'm curious now. So have we got anything else here, by the way? I'm just have a quick look down. He's at FMFC, the SI league. This must be just like some test league that they have. I want to play this test league. Okay, he's what's he worth? 1.3. Yeah, that's probably, yeah, he'd be a good level championship play. He's quite good technique and good flair. Anyway, let's go back. So you get that little dot there. He's a fringe player, which is interesting. Yeah, so it literally says it. The new value initially displays in a different color and will remain active on the player's profile until it expires. The period of time varies based on where you are in the season, in, out of the transfer window, during transfer deadline day on. Okay, so there is like a sort of expiration on the transfer. That's useful because maybe you don't want them to, this to linger on. It's important to note that while this new functionality will give you better clarity on potential fees for players you want to sell, it doesn't guarantee a sale every time. Okay, that could so you're still going to have a problem. Also, we made some upgrades to the Ask Agent About Availability quick chat first introduced in FM22 to help with trying to buy a player. Now, minimum fee release clauses and expected contract lengths are included in a player's bullet point list of demands. Okay, so they're adding extra demands beyond just the wages that they want. That's good. That's good. It's interesting to know a little bit more out of that agent. You can also contest some of these items, either working with the agent to seek a more favorable release clause or asking all demands to remain up for discussion. Okay, right. So you can even tell the agent, we want to enter discussions, but we're not committing to any of this. Interesting. I wonder if that means that those promises sort of have more weight. Actually, one of the things I found is that you can often bargain the agent down, but then when you enter the contract negotiations, they're not willing to consider the amounts they suggested at all. Right, so greater use of agents. That's interesting. Right, the next part then. So evolve your squad with new intermediaries. I've highlighted or get off. If you want to sell one of your players but their agent isn't cooperating or the offers don't meet your expectations, you can now hire an intermediary to help facilitate the sale. So this is an additional role. Interesting. Intermediaries are brokers recruited by your director of football, relevant staff member, that can help generate new interest in a player and assist with securing a move for a percentage of final transfer fee. They're basically like agents for the club in a way, and they're trying to get the players sold. That's interesting. I wasn't so aware of this happening in football. Very much I believed. I know we obviously have things like TransferRoom, which they announced obviously in last week's update, but this will be it. I'm looking forward to this. This is a little interesting thing. I mean, it's relatively small, isn't it? But just the extra options it gives you in trying to sell a player, move a player, and maneuver the transfer market, which, let's be honest, is one of the two most fun things in Foot Manager. Transfers and transfer market and matches. Those two things are the fun things in Football Manager. Everything else is supplementary. The interest they are able to source is determined by a few factors, including their reach and ability as an agent. Okay, so they are sort of agents, right? and they have their own reach and ability. So their scope is a measure of geographical location they operate in. So much like in the way you have a scout who's good at UK, if you have an intermediary who's good at UK, he'll try and send them to UK. For example, an intermediary with continental Europe reach would bring an interest from an appropriate club in their region. Their ability will help determine how much interest and what sale value they can find for your player. So obviously the better intermediary you can get, the more money you can get. The commission is capped at a maximum of 10% of the overall transfer fee, just as it is in the professional game. I did not know that. So there's actually a real world cap for these intermediaries. This cost is shown throughout the process. Oh, 10% of a transfer fee though. Imagine you sell a player for 100 million and you've got to chuck an extra 10 million, or you lose a 10 million, you lose 10 million out of the sale. This cost is shown. This is like a last ditch resort way of doing it, isn't it? You don't want to do this because it could cost you quite a lot. This cost is shown throughout the process, right from the initial inbox item, indicating that a bid has been received, right through to the transfer completion news item. That's weird, right from, right to. I mean, okay, weird language there, but we'll pass over it. Assessing your intermediary options is key. While the commission they charge is based on their reach and ability, some who are better known but lesser skilled may end up charging more than a higher skilled but less well connected person. Yeah, higher skilled but less well connected. Imagine you can probably get a good wage, a good fee, but he might have less interest from clubs at that fee. Another factor is the length of time they expect to spend gathering offers. High ability intermediaries often find offers more quickly, but understandably their cost is higher. Right, okay. So just how good they are is how much they're going to cost. During the busiest transfer periods of the season, such as deadline day, this time is reduced, and that means that some lower ability intermediaries may be entirely unable to complete their work. Oh, hang on. During the busiest transfer periods of the season, such as deadline day, this time is reduced, and that could mean that some lower abilities and intermediaries may be... Right, so what it's saying is they might just take too long and not complete, especially if they're not very good. They're not going to get it done in time for deadline day. So if you're on deadline day, you probably want a good one. Did we get to choose our intermediary? Like, how do we decide? Oh, here they are. Yeah. Okay, we'll look at that in a second. So use an intermediary, head to the transfer drop down, hire intermediary. Let's have a look at this then. Head to the transfer drop down, hire an intermediary. There it is, right there. We've got a different player here, Rick Taliu. He's at FMFC as well. Let's have a quick look, see if there's anything new I can spot. Perfect dynamics. Nothing else new. No little sneaks. He's worth 48.64. Is he good? How old is he? 21. 16 determination, pacey. What does he pace as DM? I don't think you need that much pace as a DM. Would like his passing a little bit better and teamwork a little bit better in that position, perhaps. He could be a good box to box by the looks of it. Segundo Volante, yeah, that makes sense. If you got him in the DM role. Anyway, yeah, hire intermediary to sell players. So I'm just judging all these players as we go through them. If the player's agent didn't want to help you sell the player earlier in the process due to them not wanting to leave, going over their head to an intermediary can risk the player becoming unhappy and disrupting the dress. Get them the hell out. We don't want any disruptive players in our dressing room. Conversely, though, it can also bring you sale options that the player's own agent wouldn't have even considered as being possible, as the intermediary may have better connections. All right, so the agents also have connections with other clubs. If you choose to hire an intermediary and they're able to find interest in one of your players, you'll receive a quick chat pop up from the relevant staff member displaying which intermediaries are offering their services, a preview of what they expect to provide and for how much. At this stage, the intermediary will give you enough information to make an informed decision without revealing too much. That's good. Yeah, you want to make... Let's have a look at it. I think this is it here. So we have our selection. We're going to sell João Amado from Watford. We're looking at 1.8 and it tells us... Okay, looking to get him for a loan. Interesting that says loan, but has expected deal value. So that's how much they're gonna earn. So let's pretend we're doing this, right? We're getting rid of this guy on loan for a season. He's 22, but you need to get him some match experience. And we got our fees here. So Mindy Thompson is going to get us between 1.5 and 2.1. So that's not actually... I mean, this guy's better. He's only asking for 5%. Ricardo Mediano, 1.6 to 2.1. I think this one might be, the upper end of this guy is lower and he's charging 8%. So I'd imagine you'd probably go for that 5% guy or this 2% guy, Luis Novo, 1.6 to 2.2. So that's sort of like, okay, you'd be like, right, one of these two, and you just decide based on how much money you want. Yeah, maybe, I guess you can go in and look at those agents, can I? There's no I button to me. If I hover over them, does it tell me, oh, scope, here we go. So this one's continental and this one's worldwide. So actually, oh, now that changes it, doesn't it? That changes it. I still think I would probably go for one of these two, maybe this guy, maybe Daniel Pripic. He'd get us up to 2.2. There's only 1% in that, isn't there? But she might get lower. Or she. they. Once you've reviewed what each intermediary is offering, you can choose which suits you best and ask them to return with specific offers. Once the associated period of time has elapsed, your selected intermediary will return with the promised bids that you're free to accept, negotiate, or reject. Okay. If none of the clubs the intermediaries identify as interested bid for your player, their reasoning will be explained. The intermediary will also let you know if they're unable to source any interest at all. You can try again later if this is the case. See, that would be annoying if you hired an intermediary. Although they're making a cut of the final sale, so it's in their interest, right? There's no downside to that. If you receive no offers but are desperate to sell the player, there is an option to offer out an ultimatum to all intermediaries. And look at this. This is actually kind of cool. So you can actually say, all you intermediaries, I want to sell him. I want him gone by the end of the day. He's a pain in my... and I want him gone. All of you go, find me someone, first one back, best deal, it'll be gone. This ultimatum serves as a first come, first serve. There we go, first come, first serve. All intermediaries will try to source a bid for your player, and the first offer is the only offer. Interesting that the first one is the only one, though. Like, what happens if, like, surely you could have like a 2-hour deadline or something. Like, you've got 2 hours, best person to get a deal in 2 hours. This does mean you're unable to select a specific intermediary, unaware of the associated percentage up front. Right, so you might end up with the expensive guy as well. If after a month you've still received no offers, the ultimatum will end. So an ultimatum really is first come, first serve ultimatum. It's weird that you can't say, I mean, it'd be good if you could say, I want to put a one week ultimatum. Or I guess that's probably illegal maybe, or not allowed in the system. You'd be or no intermediaries would take it perhaps. But then why would they take this one if this one's first come, first serve? If you say the best offer, all intermediaries after a week, I want to know that, rather than the first come, first serve. Then I guess then you're just doing this one, right? You're just doing the first one. Should you cancel, reject a move resourced by an intermediary, both the intermediary and associate club will be unlikely to make further offers for this player for a short period. I mean, that's sort of true. Anyway, it's a bit annoying though. I guess if you negotiate. Intermediary Harry Dunn informs me that Birmingham City and Swansea have made offers for Chris Lancaster. He'll get 2%. Okay, so this is him selling this player 240k. And the intermediary takes 2%. Okay, that's all right. That's interesting. So I don't know if those little buttons normally appear next to those staff members' names on that list. Is that new? That might be new. Anything else here? See, this is where you got to look for the little new things. He's selling a lot. They're selling a lot of players. 19 transfer offers down there. Okay, let's jump back. Intermediaries can also work for other clubs, meaning that they will come to you directly if someone else is looking to offload a player. In these instances, you'll receive a scout report that includes agent feedback outlining a few expected financial details where to pursue this deal. Okay, right. So the intermediaries will come to you much in the same way that you sometimes get the offers from agents in the inbox. Here we go, TransferRoom. So this is the new thing that they announced last week in the development update. As we initially revealed in our recent development update, FM24 will see the first inclusion of our new partner, TransferRoom. If I click on that, look at this. I hadn't actually seen this one here. Football Manager's Transfer Market and SI Inc. multi-year strategic partnerships. So it's not going to be just this year's game. I mean, I wonder, like, there's a few things. So Sci Sports is in the game. I think it's Sci Sports, like not S Sports Interactive. I think it's SCI Sports. And they've had some others in the game in the past. I think the Athletic are in the game. There's a few media companies that are in the game. So it'd be interesting to see, like, what happens when these platforms go. Do they just like put in a fake version? Or did they just sign a new deal? But I mean, it might be that there's no financial exchange here. You know, Foot Manager get TransferRoom and a bit of expertise on how TransferRoom works. TransferRoom get the knowledge that they're in Football Manager, and it advertises them in a way. So it could just be that it's a no financial arrangement, and you know, with get out clauses if one of them gets brought into disrepute or something. TransferRoom are helping bring football into the digital age, connecting the right people, getting deals over the line. I think we saw this, right? Foot Manager is a staple for football fans and a benchmark for making a game truly as reality as possible. Together, we get a chance to show those playing Foot Manager how transfers happen in real life. Okay, yeah, so that's sort of what we expected anyway. This page is quite useful, by the way, the Sports Interactive one. It's not on the Foot Manager blog. Sometimes you get other little things. So, for example, the Brentford deal is here as well. Willie then puts, you know, Brighton and Hove Albion are there. There's some stuff about staff working at Sports Interactive as well. So Pledgeable is, it's like I wonder what Pledgeable was for a second. Right, let's go back to the other one. It's a group for women's football, right? Which is FM25, by the way. Looking forward to that. In FM24, the digital service replaces the previous. Oh, Offers to Clubs is gone or changed. Wait, did we see it? Wait. Oh yes, look, I've just seen here on this one. Offer via TransferRoom. There we go. There's me looking for the new things. Offer to Clubs is gone. offer via TransferRoom is in. So let's go down. This is not an instant option, as clubs won't all be looking online at the system every minute of the day. So it's a little bit, so the intermediaries is going to be the way, so this and the intermediaries are in a way replacing offer to clubs. But your staff will collate the offers together and inform you of any interest in good time. It's weird that you can't also still do the offer to clubs. Like, did that just not happen in football anymore? Or is it that it's strange? Like, this sort of feels more like the transfer market that's already there in the game, right? Clubs are more likely to be using it at different points in the season and transfer window, so responses may come in quickly at times than others. Okay. Something to note is using the intermediary ultimatum functionality outlined above doesn't preclude you from offering a player out via a transfer room. So you can do both at the same time. This is just the start of TransferRoom's integration in Foot Manager, with much more to come in the future. So they're going to build, that sounds like they're going to build on this, not for FM24, but for FM25 and beyond, which I am excited about. Let's have a look. There's lots of images in this one, which is good. Rogier de Jong, not Roger de Jong, Rogier de Jong. He's at Watford, a defender. So no interest, I mean, there's no interested clubs. Offer out via TransferRoom just over here, and the regular instructions, discuss, chat with the agent. Okay, right. So, I mean, I don't know why they've included a screenshot. It doesn't show any interest. But, oh, actually the follow-up. Here we go. This image shows some interest. Charlie Stulford. That was weird to include both of them. So we've got a bit of interest from Crew, rumoured interest from Crawley, not the first choice option. Okay. So that's good. That reason, sorry, I'll just move it from behind my head. That's good. That reason why Crawley don't want to make an offer. Because it might be like, right, so they're after someone else, but if they don't get that other person, they might come back for Charlie Stallard. I mean, it doesn't give anything on status or anything there. Let's go back. So, upgrading the existing agents functionality, introducing intermediaries has led us to make a few changes to transfer status screen. Clubs considering a move for one of your players may now be classed as having an active interest or rumoured interest rather than major or minor. Okay, so they've changed the wording a little bit. You'll also now see a contextual reason for a club's interest. For example, if you player, did someone check this before they said it? If you player was not a club's first choice target in a given position, that would qualify as rumoured interest. Agent, I'll go cut them a little bit of slack. I'm sure it's very stressful at the minute. Agent feedback is still included on the screen in the top right. If you've not already spoken to the player's agent about potential sale, they'll be discussed generating market interest. We just saw that. Available options are to hire an intermediary or offer via TransferRoom. Should these options have been exhausted without success, the button will now instead read swayed to leave. Right, so that appears after these other things. Swayed to leave, though, is different though. That's chatting to the player. I wonder what that kicks in that the other two don't. I've always it's something I'm hesitant to use. In the bottom right, you'll see tabs indicating the player's transfer and loan status that allow you to provide instructions to Director of Football. If you click on the Director of Football instructions header, you'll be taken to unwanted or development lists, so those are already there. The panel in the top right adapts with sale and transfer option. Where is that panel in the top right? Let's go find that one. Oh, it is that one. It is that one. Wait, it says in the bottom right, panel in the top right. Adapts with the sale and transfer options depending on whether you're viewing the player profile of a player you've loaned out, someone you've loaned in, or an opposition player. On this screen, panel in the top right, are we on an actual player? No. What am I looking for? That bit there, player interest? Maybe they're just saying that player interest bit changes. You notice too, these screens look a little bit different for MLS players, as they now have more contextual information like the club they're contracted to, which club holds their rights, and who initially signed them to the league. Oh my God, MLS is chaotic. Well, of course they had to do something separate for MLS, because MLS is a hell on earth in Football Manager. Empowering you to shape your squad your way. The introduction to intermediaries and enhanced functionality for pre-existing agents elevate the experience of 7 players in FM24, giving you more real-world power tools than ever. Cool, right. So what do we have next? Coming. This is the thing from Monday. I want the list. I want the development list. Where is it? Show me the features. Here we go. This screen. What we got next? Week commencing. Oh, that's Monday. Individual player targets and interaction logic. There's only one update next week. No, there isn't. There's 3 next week. Player targets, interaction logic, true of football motion and match authenticity, and set pieces and code. Right. I mean, there's so much coming. Like, obviously this stuff, the match day stuff, I'm not expecting big stuff out of that because they were obviously working on the Unity engine for FM25. I imagine there will be some updates though, but these ones, like, this could be really interesting. So this is also about the transfers. I love that they are dealing with the transfers. Let's talk about that for a second. Like, so here's the thing. A lot of people are saying, oh, these are small things. Why are they adding actual features? They added actual features last year. No one uses them because the main core play loop of Foot Manager is doing the transfers, selecting your squad, setting your tactic, playing the matches. That is what most people do. Press conferences, like I remember for years and years and years, people wanted press conferences and everybody skips them now. Nobody likes them. They're annoying. Like even the agents, a lot of people don't bother chatting to the agents because like chatting to people, chatting to players, training, lots of people don't bother with training. They want training overhauls. Most people don't bother with training. This transfers, everyone does this. Everyone buys players, everyone sells players, unless you're doing some weird contextual no transfer save youth only policy. But this is what everyone does. So I think the even subtle additions to this stuff is actually way bigger than a whole new feature like a dynamic manager timeline or whatever else they added last year. I mean, hopefully they update the dynamic manager timeline. I'd like to see the dynamic manager timeline include some cool stuff. Like, you know, like a news report where you threw the bottle at the players or something. But something interesting, like not boring, where we've broken a record or something. I know some of those are already included in there, but we broke so many records last year in Foot Manager and loads of them aren't shown in that dynamic timeline. Or like a wonder goal or something like that, you know, save a goal of the month. Every time when your player does a goal of the month, get it there, get it saved in that dynamic manager timeline. I think that's the kind of stuff they need to be doing with that. I mean, they should be doing this. This is the stuff they should be doing. Improving the transfers, improving the tactical stuff we obviously haven't got to just yet. I think the tactics for now are okay. I'm interested to see what positional play includes, and definitely the set pieces refresh. That is an area, and that is one area that the community's been asking for a long time. So we're going to see that next week. If you want to buy Foot Manager for £35 and 5 pence, 6 pence, not there's a penny or two in, go to the link down in the description below. Use the code SIMAGIO24 at Fanatical. It's an approved Sailor retailer. You may see it cheaper elsewhere, but they are dodgy keys. You might have noticed, those of you who've been keeping an eye, one of those other dodgy sites today messed up a load of FIFA keys. So use an approved reseller. Use my link down in the description below. You'll get an extra couple of percentage off, but it's 22% off the Steam price, so it's cheaper than buying it on Steam. Check that out. And you'll be helping me out, and you know, helping me produce lots more content for FM24 and FM25. Hopefully, if you want to see more about the upcoming features in FM24, check out this playlist there. I've gone through all the feature announcements so far, so if you've missed any, go check them out. I've also got a video in there about the J-League, though obviously J-League has now been confirmed as we chatted about at the start of this video. Go have a look at some of the other features and my thoughts on them here.